We had two great ones to put a bow on Week 6. Kyle, let's start with the Cardinals Cowboys name with Buddha, 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 Buddha rocking everything.
I love that 5 p.m. kickoff. Let's go to AT&T Stadium, where Kyler Murray's had a lot of success as a college and high school player. Shout out to Allen High School, the Bald Eagles. And this one is going to take flight. Already up 14-0 in the second quarter. Kyler, boom. Christian Kirk makes an amazing fingertip catch. That is your garden variety 80-yard touchdown. 21-0, and now it's 21-3. Kyler, scoot, 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 touchdown. Way too quick, way too fast, way too dangerous, way too much Cardinals. I'm not sure there's anybody who could not go into that stadium right and put up points. That person had a homemade sign. This has been Kyler's house with a little Superman. Looks like Mighty Mouse. Nice work to that fan. Cowboys defense, have you heard of them? Neither have I. 1960, 1989, most points allowed through Cowboys. This isn't even league history. They're in that pace to shatter that thing. Just another night of 2020 Cowboys football. Hate to harp on the negative. Congratulations, Cards, on the win, but Dallas, hey, look out.
Yeah, congrats to Kyler, to Buda Baker, all the stars that got the primetime love. Just Kyler Murray's second primetime game of his young career. But I ask you, Nate, let's start with Dallas here. What do you think of the Andy Dalton-led Cowboys?
First, let me say Kyler Murray looked good running with the ball, and Christian Kirk was fast. I forgot how fast he was. He was fantastic yesterday. The defense. As much as I want to talk about Andy Dalton and some of his mistakes, I'll let Kyle or Peter talk about that. Once again, here we are. Was it Week 6 going into Week 7? Maybe we'll be talking about this in Week 16, that the Dallas defense can't stop anybody. Even when Kyler Murray doesn't throw the ball well, he drops back, and those design runs just chop through that defense. I don't know what they're going to do moving forward, and I don't like to sit up here on TV and call for anybody's name. Because I'm a fraternity guy, I'm in the brotherhood of the NFL, I will never get on TV and say that guy needs to be cut, released, or traded, and I will never say a coach needs to be fired. I have too much respect for guys who have their job. But something needs to change. You have way too many dogs on that defense for a system not to be in place for that team to stop offenses. The most disappointing thing about the Andy-led Cowboys now is the same thing we've been saying every single week, the Dallas defense.
Except the Andy-led Cowboys offense was horrific, and the Dak-led offense could put up points. The Andy Dalton did nothing, and Zeke Elliott was terrible. Cowboys fans want their pound of flesh. We're on the NFL Network. Let's give them their pound of flesh. If we're going to do this to the Jets every morning, we should do it to the Cowboys, too. This was horrific last night. On national television, game felt really weird and out of sync to start because the Cardinals weren't great either. And then Zeke fumbles these two balls. The Dalton throws 2 interceptions. The picks are bad. They say, oh, well, there was a pass interference on this one. CeeDee Lamb was knocked down. All right, fine. If you want to say that, well, then what's the excuse for this one here? Dalton's looking, goodbye. Dalton was bad. And I know we were like, well, the drop-off isn't that bad. But look at the turnovers, guys. Look at this. This is through 6 games. They had 17 all last year and 17 all 2018. We have 11 more games to play.
Whoa.
The guys, this is unacceptable. And then there's coaching problems, right? Look, pound of flesh. If we're going to do it to Gase and we're going to do it to the Jets, we've got to do it to the Cowboys. It's a 28-3 game and late in the game, 28-3. And Mike McCarthy calls out Greg Zuerlein to kick a field goal when you're down 20. All right, so this cuts the game from 3 scores to 3 scores. 58 yards away, he misses it. That would have made it 28-6. What are we doing? Cowboys interviewed one head coach this year, Mike McCarthy. At some point, it's not the defensive coordinator, it's not the defense, it's not the injuries. He's got to make better decisions. They're supposed to be well prepared and ready to go. If you're a Jets fan yesterday morning, you woke up to this. If you're a Cowboys fan this morning, it's only fair we give it to them, too. America's team right now is nothing to rally around. I'm pretty harsh on a Tuesday morning, and I think Cowboys fans feel the same way.
No, come on, they deserve it. It's disingenuous to do anything else. And maybe Mike McCarthy is finding it's hard to coach in the NFL. We don't have a first-ballot Hall of Famer as your quarterback. He has got Andy Dalton last night. And, Peter, I don't even agree. I don't think Andy Dalton was bad. Andy Dalton was Andy Dalton. Did anybody really think that he was going to be a savior and come out? We've had years of film on Andy Dalton. We know what he is. We know what he isn't. He was not going to come in and start throwing for 450 yards and keep him in like Dak, especially when the defense is that bad. The real disappointment here isn't Dalton. I don't blame Dalton. I don't blame a Caesar salad for being a Caesar salad. That's just a damn Caesar salad. I blame the guy who's supposed to be the ribeye. Ezekiel Elliott came out and was a complete head case, fumbled the ball all over the field, never had 2 fumbles in a game before, and maybe Zeke's got something in his head where he's like, I need to be a world conqueror and I'm going to take this team on my shoulders, which is admirable. But this is not the way to do it. And here's the problem with the Cardinals. After he fumbled once and fumbled twice, they were stripping it. They were ripping that ball every single time he touched it. So he couldn't even focus on running because he was so terrified in this fumble paralysis of not putting it on the ground again. I think he was shell-shocked. I think the Cowboys are shell-shocked about how much they paid him and how they have to get through the rest of the season. And yet the craziest part of all of it, we have to bring this up, give me the NFC East standings in the National Football Conference. This team we're looking at right here is in first place. They're alone in first place. So click along. You guys got about 2 months to figure this thing out. If I can bend over backwards for any shred of optimism, you have about 2 months to get this thing right and maybe win a playoff game if you can hold off the Eagles. Because last night was a 0 no-show. Call yourself America's team and play in prime time. You got to give us a better product than that. We make our living in the NFL. We're trying to prop you up. You're not helping.
There's a danger in pinning everything on the quarterback spot. There just is. And we do it because they're the highest paid. They're the ones that's supposed to dig, their teams out of trouble and all of that. Triggs, I want to ask you really quick, because I watch every Cowboys game. Specifically, I'm looking at Dak because of the narrative, because of him wanting to get paid. What is he doing? Is he going to bail them out? Are they going to pay him? And when he's not on the field, you do get to sort of notice the other deficiencies on the team. You look at Zeke and what he did and him getting paid. You look at DeMarcus Lawrence. DeMarcus Lawrence, where are you? Not to call call him out, but he's got 1 sack in 6 games, and he's up there with the Von Millers. He got
call him out.
2 this offseason. So then you start looking at the other things that are not working for them. I ask you, in a weird way, if this continues, and we don't know if it will, they've got Pittsburgh in a couple weeks, they've got Washington, can this sort of work in his favor, in Dak's favor, sort of accentuate that he's not the problem?
Yeah, I mean, Dak Prescott was the MVP of last night's game. Every single time that they were on offense, I said they missed Dak. So absolutely, absence makes the heart grow fonder, and it just shows how much he was covering up. Then again, Zach Martin was out. Travis Frederick's no longer there. There are issues everywhere. Yeah. But yes, Kay, if this team goes totally in the drains, it only makes Dak's case even greater for what he was doing with that supporting crew around him. We've got another game, though. Can we go to the other game? Let's go to the other game.
Yeah.
Let's go to the early one. The Bills and Chiefs battle up there in Western New York. This is cool. Started at 5 p.m. Eastern. It was on the NFL Network and Fox. It was raining. And early on, Kelsey would have 2 big catches for touchdowns. He was excited. Chiefs are up on this one here, 23-10. And Josh Allen is coming back here. Hits Cole Beasley. The Bills are alive. All right, Bills are alive. Josh Allen's loving it. Let's go in the rain. This is what I was meant to do. Next Bills possession after a Chiefs field goal. Allen goes back, 2nd and 12. Looking. Dan the man, Dan Sorensen, a one-hander to put this game away. Chiefs go on the road a week after losing to the Raiders, and they find a way to get the win. Take a look here. Most rushing yards by the Chiefs. We didn't show any Clyde Edwards-Helaire highlights there. Guess what? Last night, Clyde Edwards-Helaire was incredible. He was everywhere. He had over 160 yards rushing, silencing a lot of critics. And it was the same week that they signed Le'Veon Bell. Let's hear from Patrick Mahomes and the rookie, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, what they had to say after the game.
I mean, I had a few of those RPOs called, and I had to tell myself not to throw it, just keep handing that thing off. I mean, Clyde was running well, O-line was blocking well. And, I mean, I just want to win. I don't care how that's done. And if teams are going to play us like this, you're going to see us running the football, and we have the guys that can do it.
When you have days like this, things just seem, like to part like the Red Sea, and that's what the O-line did. And ultimately, I just put my head down and run. And then when it's time to make a guy miss or time to run through a guy, I do my job. That fires up the O-line, and I'm doing my 1-11. So ultimately, it got us the win.
KC dominating on the ground, Kyle. Rainy conditions. They didn't even have Le'Veon Bell, their newest acquisition. Yet, what was the most impressive part to you?
Most rushing attempts ever for an Andy Reid team. That's wild. I mean, we're talking about a guy who's had LaShawn McCoy, Deuce Staley, Jamal Charles, Brian Westbrook, and he's never unleashed any of them as many times as he decided to just lean on the Bills. I mean, he didn't know the Chiefs had that in them necessarily. This is the pretty team, right? Like, if they were a 90s tag team, they'd be the Rockers with Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, right? No, there was some Legion of Doom there, with all due respect, and I loved it. That Bills are supposed to bring it. We're the tough guys. We're Western New York. You guys are pretty boy. No way. The way they ran at them, and then the best thing, just kept running at them. They never set them up, oh, you know what, this time we'll do play action, go deep. Just keep on leaning, keep on pressing that sore spot. It was one of the toughest games that I've seen the Chiefs play in the entire Mahomes era, and I loved it.
To be a great head coach, you have to be fluid. You have to be able to adjust in real time. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he was running like Ezekiel Elliott was supposed to last night. You know, I've always said when facing the Chiefs, you're supposed to bring these guys down to the mud. If you want to slow them down in a game like this where the rain is, you muck it up. It doesn't matter. The Chiefs said, no, we're going to muck it up. We got the horses to run through the mud. We're going to ask, can you keep up with us? Not in the air, but on the ground. The most impressive part, just like Kyle is saying, yeah, we got the horses that can go up top. Travis Kelce can move the ball for us. Tyreek Hill can go deep. The host of wide receivers are just as fast. But if we want to go old school, hard-nosed, ugly, 3 yards in a cloud of dust football, oh, the Chiefs can do that too. That was the most impressive part of this Chiefs game.
Yeah, and it was a one-score game late, and you're like, all right, here come the Bills. Beasley has the touchdown. And to me, it's what Mahomes does best. When you need him most, he finds a way. And that's not always the case for some of these young quarterbacks around the league. Who are you going to go to? Tyreek? You're going to go to Kelce? You're going to go to Clyde Edwards-Helaire? No, you're going to go to Byron Pringle. This, to me, was a big play in the game. It was late in the game. It was 3rd down. Mahomes needs to get a bunch of yards here, and he goes, looking like this, I'm looking, and finds Pringle across the middle for 30 yards, his only catch. Obviously, this is what the Chiefs do. And then who's going to step up when Mitchell Schwartz goes down? And who's going to step up with Osemele out? They had a great offensive line effort. It wasn't just the running backs last night. So here you got all these replacements at offensive line. Daniel Kilgore was fantastic last night. He's the big fella right there, 67. We got an ISO on him because Ed Oliver is supposed to be one of the best defensive tackles in the league, and we're hearing so much about Mario Addison. And Daniel Kilgore was just creating holes all evening. Aikman and Buck were like,